Welcome back to Kind of Funny's Pixar in Review. That's right, we are ranking and reviewing every Pixar movie. As always, I'm Tim Gettys, joined by the Nitro Rifle, Andy Cortez,
What up?
the Big Dog, Kevin Coelho.
Wally.
I hated that. Oh my God. It's Christmas in May. Joey
powering
Noel.
down.
I was really worried because Kevin's eyes looked kind of weird. And I was like, what is happening?
Did you use a voice changer?
No, that was all me. That was all
Kevin,
me.
Kevin and I, listen. Kevin and I have been
dug
going
deep
strong
for that
since early
one.
this morning, okay? Give him
Yeah,
a break.
it's been a long day.
We've been going deep today.
And the man that's going deep is the producer / seducer, Nick Scarpino.
Wally.
There we go.
No,
That's what I was
there we go. There it is.
It sounded like he was using a pitch modulator to make him go down several pitches.
You ever have it's like a handheld video game that just ran out of batteries?
Yeah. Yeah, the Tiger Electronics.
Exactly. Wow.
This is Kind of Funny's In Review, where we rank and review different movie franchises every week. We do it twice a week right now. We are doing Pixar in review, and starting next week, Ninja Turtles in review, baby. We're starting with the 1990s Ninja Turtle movie. How stoked are you about that, Kev?
Pretty like Turtles in Time. We're doing Turtles in Time.
We're doing them all, man. Doing them all.
All right. I know that's not its legal name, but
Yeah, that's the name.
that's what I've always called it.
Yeah, Nick, what's up?
Splinter.
Yes, I can't wait to get it. Can't wait to get that. It's going to be so fun. But that's not what we're talking about. Today we're doing Pixar in review that you can watch on youtube.com/kindoffunny or roosterteeth.com. If you want to get it as a podcast, just search your favorite podcast service for Kind of Funny in Review, and we'll be right there for you. If you want to get the show ad-free, you can go to patreon.com/kindoffunny, where you also can watch the show live as we record it, just like our Patreon producers get to do. Tom Bach and Michael G. That's MYCOAL.
Okay.
G.
That's gross.
Yeah,
That's disgusting.
Why is that disgusting?
Mike Hole?
Mike,
Exciting,
like-
getting spicy.
Oh, like Mike the Hole? Okay. You know what? We'll
I
paint it
don't
in a
know if
different
they're
way.
playing
My
a
brain.
joke.
I can't tell.
Yeah,
anymore
like in
with
what
these
way
kids.
is that like gross?
Could just be their name. I don't know.
But even my hold, like you got to add a lot of stuff to make it gross there.
Do you have to add that much stuff?
You know what I
Do you
mean?
have to add that much stuff?
I don't know, everybody. I don't know at all. But we don't have time to talk about that because today we are talking about Wall-E with a runtime of 1 hour, 37 minutes, released on June 27th, 2008, directed by Andrew Stanton. His film work includes co-writing and co-directing A Bug's Life, directing Finding Nemo and Finding Dory, Wall-E, and the live-action films Disney's John Carter, while co-writing all 4 Toy Story films and Monsters, Inc. So this guy, he's got what it takes. Music by Thomas Newman, who is Randy's cousin.
You could tell, Andy. Could you tell? It just fell off at the end where it's like, we're gonna save the world. And you're like, I don't like this song.
Here's my friend Wally. Oh, man, that's not much of a change here. There were a couple of weird musical cues that I think during the sort of Eve and Wally are on Earth, there was kind of like a little weird uppity little beat going on. And I was like, this sounds unlike anything Pixar has ever had in their music before. It sounded very odd, but I got to assume that when Randy Newman heard that, he was just like, I don't like this song. That's what he said.
Do you think, Andy, at Christmas, Randy was like, you just don't fucking have it.
You just don't have it, Tommy.
Kids' table's getting crazy.
Brutal. Oh, God. Yeah, coincidentally, composer Thomas Newman's uncle, Lionel Newman, there's so many Newmans,
So many
worked on
Newmans.
the film Hello, Dolly, which was the
Oh.
musical. That,
That's a
whole
good, that's a
bunch.
nice
So,
little
yeah,
connection.
all in the
Streisand.
family there. All in the family. A budget of $180 million and a box office return of $521.3 million. In terms of awards, boy golly, there's a lot. The first Pixar film to be nominated for 6 Academy Awards. This ties it with the only other animated film to garner this many, Beauty and the Beast. Wall-E won the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature and was nominated for Best Original Screenplay, Best Original Score, Best Original Song, Sound Editing, Sound Mixing. Walt Disney Pictures also pushed for the Academy Award for Best Picture, but it did not get nominated, which sparked controversy over whether the Academy deliberately restricted Wall-E to the Best Animated Feature category. Some fun stats for you, Andy. The average number of storyboards used on a Pixar film is 75,000, but for WALL-E, it was 125,000.
That makes
due
sense.
to it being a much more kind of visual thing without as
yeah.
much dialogue going on.
Those numbers are absurd, right? Like both
Can
those
you
numbers
Can
seem like
you
way
imagine
too many drawings.
misplacing the Google Drive or whatever like flash drive that was on? Like dude, I lost it all. Do you think we could redo it, dude? It's 120 something thousand. Probably not.
We might be able to get through 20 of them tonight. Let's just start now and see what happens.
So let's talk about what we thought about WALL-E. Kev, let's start with you.
Man, I fucking totally forgot how much I love this movie. It's so good. Like it's just constantly hitting emotions, feelings about the world, about like, me being lazy. It's just there's a lot of feelings there. Love.
Kevin, did you feel like
I'm all
after
over the
this we
place.
should all go for a run? We're like, let's all go
100%.
for a little jog. on this one.
100%.
Andy.
Yeah, this is about as perfect as a movie gets, I think. I'd be shocked if this is not in like the top 3 at the end of the day. It has all the charm and love and passion from a Pixar short, just extended all the way through. It is so imaginative and creative. I can't believe how perfect the concept is and how incredibly executed it is all the way through. There's no wasted time. There are no scenes that I wish weren't happening on screen. This movie is in my opinion, just like a perfect movie, I think, front to back.
Joey.
Ooh, this is going to be a hard one. This is the
Uh-oh.
first Pixar movie that I haven't liked as much or more during the rewatch. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that I watched it immediately after watching The Mitchells versus the Machines and being in a totally different kind of like headspace to be watching WALL-E.
Mhm.
And it is like a very weird like 1-2 punch watching the two of them, because The Mitchells versus the Machines is like, oh, we saved the world from these robots and all this stuff. And this one's like, well, we didn't. And it's like just a little bit darker, even though it's
It's a
not
gut
dark.
punch, yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's also the fact that like, I don't know if it's quarantine or what, but I feel like I have like a very low attention span. So a movie without dialogue was really hard for me to like really stay focused on. So these are all very me problems and not necessarily reflections on the movie itself. But this was a harder rewatch for me based on those two things specifically. It kind of feels like the modern day version to me of Fantasia, where it's like, I know that it's like a very important and impactful movie, but wasn't necessarily exciting. So yeah.
You don't like the hippos dancing, Joey?
I do, but like I don't know if I need 90
We
minutes
need 90
for
minutes
that
of
one
that,
point, you know?
Nick, what'd you think?
I mean, I always find this movie very entertaining. I did the exact same thing Joey did, where I came from the sort of frenetic craziness of the Mitchells versus the Machines to this, which I'm always just, every time I watch this movie, just fascinated they got made, because it's kind of a dark movie, right? It's very similar to my feedback on Ratatouille, where I'm like, on paper, I don't know that this works as a Pixar movie. This is about the end of the world, basically. I mean, they leave for 700 years because the Earth is no longer sustainable. That's kind of a scary like thing to deal with, especially for a movie that with this cute little robot that is going to be very appealing to like younger audiences. But I just think that to Andy's point, I always enjoy watching this. It goes by at a quick clip. I'm always fascinated when we get to Jeff Garlin at the end, and he goes down like his very first internet rabbit hole where he's like, wait a minute, what's dancing? Wait a minute, what's music? Like all these things. And I think it's just super creative, and I love the style of it. I love the style of all the robots. It's a delight to watch it. And I think the WALL-E character, I mean, it's a great exercise in watching how you tell a story visually, it's like polar opposite from the Mitchells, where they're like, we're going to over explain every single thing, and everything's going to have like all levels of storytelling we possibly could have, and then some. And then this one's just very, very subtle, nuanced performances and like WALL-E's cute little eyes, and that's pretty much what you get. And I think I prefer that one.
Yeah, this is my first time fully watching this movie, and it was surprising. Like I always knew that it was great, and I knew that like it kind of was darker than a lot of the other things. I was surprised at how dark it was, and I was surprised at how much depth there is, and like it just kept kind of going places that I'm like, wow, this is really interesting. We spent the last 10 weeks or whatever it was talking about these Pixar movies, and we're just talking about a quality that is a whole other level. And we're such broken records at this point of like, okay, we're comparing this 10 out of 10 to this 10 out of 10 to this 9 out of 10. It's like, we're talking about some top tier stuff. But I love this because for so long, it kind of felt like, okay, cool. They nailed it with Toy Story. And then it's like, okay, but what about if it was bugs? Or what if it was monsters? Or what if it was cars? Or what if it was rats in a kitchen? This one is so crazy because I really felt like Andrew Stanton and the team was just like, we need to do something that's different. Like, not just what if it was robots. Like, we needed this to be a different movie than the other ones. And I think that the choice to make it so light on the dialogue was like such a crazy achievement for them to actually tell a good story with that. And I think it's them flexing on every angle, all of the muscles of just like, we got to a point that our visuals are good enough that they alone can tell this story. And I think, Andy, I think it was you that brought up this feels like one of the Pixar shorts, like turned into a movie. I absolutely agree. And thinking of it that way, it's like even more impressive that this works with the runtime that it has, where it didn't lose me at any point. Like, I was totally in and loved the visuals. Like, this is easily the most beautiful Pixar movie we've seen thus far. And I know that that's kind of just how this works, but even just the way it looks filmic, like it looks like
it's stunning. Yeah. The color correction of the movie, just the color pass they did on it, really just, it's a different level this movie achieved than the other ones. You're absolutely right.
The scale of it, like just seeing the backgrounds, like every single thing seems like the world just so well thought out. There's so much going on, and none of it looks worse than the rest of it. Which and also the melding of some live action stuff caught me off guard. And I was like,
Fred Willard.
It's kind of cool, but like that's to me this movie's greatest strength is that, you know, we talk about every Pixar movie and the things we like most about it are the cast of characters and the themes that it has and this and that. This movie has all of that, while doing somehow simultaneously less and more with it. Like it doesn't necessarily have 10 million storylines going on at once that all converge. It's just one really broad story that is like, it makes you think. And I'm like, I definitely vibe with that. Having said that, it is, I think the movie gets worse as characters start talking, and not demonstrably worse, but I do kind of wish that they committed even harder to it just being robot sounds and like bleeps and bloops. And like, I think if they could have told the same story without having the human characters talk, or at least having main human characters. If it was all from like old footage and
Mary
stuff, or
and
live
John,
action TV stuff, like I think I would have vibed with it just a little bit more. And that is such a minor critique of something that I think is very, very special.
Well, yeah, I think it's just like a clinic of what to show young animators and storytellers, how to convey a story, how to make characters feel real, how to make them feel relatable just through animation. And there are so many simple shots of when Wally is kind of looking at the video and he sees them hold hands at first on the VHS, and then his hands kind of intertwine with each other. And it's I would have loved to have just been in that room and just see what the directors are being like, you know what, hold on this shot, hold that animation, make this a little bit more fluid. Yeah. Like, this movie it's a clinic. This is like us, hey, here's a lesson plan this week. Watch Wall-E, because this is masterful.
Andy, jumping off that scene, the hand-holding scene, like this, every once in a while when we're doing review, I like find some trivia that I'm like, that is so random, but I love it. It's just such a cool fact. That scene isn't in the movie of Hello Dolly, where they hold hands. They never had the close up, but they knew they wanted it. So they had to actually get the permits and the rights to
go recreate it.
To go recreate a scene in the movie that
didn't
nuts. Exist.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Wild.
Yeah.
I'm
really,
like,
really
you
cool
could have
stuff.
probably picked another show tune. They hold hands a lot in show tunes. That's okay. But yeah.
And then some other cool stuff about you talking about like just telling the visual storytelling without having the dialogue and all that stuff. They went to great lengths to make sure that they were doing the visual storytelling right. So Andrew Stanton and the Pixar team watched every single Charles Chaplin and Buster Keaton silent film and short films every day during lunch to kind of like see the different ways that things are emoted in by humans and stuff, and that's pretty damn cool.
Really sick.
Tim, what you said it won Academy Awards. Which ones did it win? Did it win for sound design?
It only won Best Animated film.
Oh, Best Animated. Okay, yeah, because I feel like it's almost the other thing I wanted to touch on was just the sound in this movie in general was just, I mean, that's doing a lot of the heavy lifting for this film and for the storytelling. And it's like, if you go back and just watch it, you're like, damn, they had their fucking work cut out for them. Every little sound effect, from how he moves and how he gestures, and his little buddy that runs around, and all the twirls and like the Jetson style sound effects
the only
that Eve
cockroach
does.
I'd ever want to like hang with.
I mean, he seemed real cool.
so
Am I
cute.
wrong? Like
Really
he was
Very
like,
resilient.
you
too.
go, man, you go. You know, he wanted to go with him too. He was
Invincible,
like, no, you stay,
some
bro.
would say.
Yeah.
When he
They
got
said-
ran over, I was like,
I was like, what?
no. But when he
Yeah.
popped
When he
up, I was
pops
like,
up.
thank
Yeah,
God.
it's
Pops
fine.
up.
He's cool. Yeah.
A couple facts that I thought were cool too. Roger Deakins was consulted on realistic lighting, including backgrounds that are less focused than the foreground. To achieve the filmic look, the Pixar animators brought in some vintage 1970s Panavision cameras, similar to the ones used to shoot the original Star Wars, and shot imagery to get an idea of what it should look like. And I definitely,
cool.
that comes across
Wow.
really, really well.
Yeah, definitely.
The director went to great lengths to create a filmed look by simulating various lens artifacts. One example is a focus pulling error in the supermarket scene when Wally's crushed by shopping carts. The image goes out of
I
focus
love that.
momentarily.
I
as
love
the
that
lens is
fucking
zoomed in on
shot.
Wally.
That's so
Yeah.
cool. They do
And
it
there's
like
also
kind
a bunch of lens
yeah.
flares and numerous focus shifts between foreground and background subjects. And it's like that. It's that type of creativity where they're just like, fuck it. Like, we're Pixar. We've done so much already. Let's do something different and really kind of push the art of animation.
I would be really interested to see what the script looks like of this movie. You know what I
That'd be
mean? Like
so
just all the
interesting.
all the
Yeah.
descriptive moments of it's got to be just moment to moment as opposed to like scene by scene. They've got to be, and then he looks at this and then he makes this face and he emotes and Wally does like, god damn, this movie just shouldn't work on so many levels, and
But it does so well.
it still is one of my favorites ever. I love how creative it is. I love obviously the commentary on us as a planet and us as consumers, and I like the play on words of by and large. Like it's such a cute little thing. But yeah, Fred Willard is fantastic also. We get him in such little small parts, but
He's
whenever he's
perfect.
on screen, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I feel like this movie is so dense where like there's so many different themes and like layered things on like, you know, the corporations controlling everything being a bad thing, and the fact that like this movie and like I'm sure it's not connected, but like the fact that this is like one of their first movies after they got bought out by Disney all the way is, you know, it kind of like you get little ideas and moments of that theme of like, look at these giant corporations taking over everything. Is that like a good thing? You know?
Yeah.
And there's so much is happening in this movie.
I would have
This movie
changed
is
one
amazing.
line though when Jeff Garland, the captain, is in the ship and they mention you could visit the jogging center. And he goes, "We have a jogging center?" I would have said, "What the hell is jogging?"
Yeah.
Because like these people don't know what any of that is. They have no,
But that's
they
what's
haven't been
so-
exposed to anything outside of what's on the ship. It's such a dystopian concept, and it's scary as hell. But they Pixarify it, and it's funny and cute and charming, but still freaky, still a little creepy.
But that's what I was like. That's what I was thrown by the first time I watched this, because I totally expected the humans to be the bad guys, and they're not. They're just innocent. They don't understand what's going on. They're stuck in this. They're just victims of the circumstances. And like when Jeff Garland has that turn where he starts going down the rabbit hole, you're like, oh wait, like he doesn't know what's happening. He has no context. And then you realize, oh, it's been 700 years since anyone told them what the hell's going on. And they're not the bad guys. There actually is no real bad guy in this, even if you think about like Otto is sort of, I guess, the person, but he's just trying to keep them safe at the end of the day, because he doesn't know that the planet's not going to kill them.
Directive, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He knows how fucked up Earth is. At
Yeah,
this
So,
point.
I mean, I think bad guys probably B and L, right?
Which one? What?
By and large.
By and large.
The corporation that like I would imagine drove the
Caused
world.
this.
Yeah, but I guess
to this,
but
and
they're
also-
not really like antagonists in the movie. Although at some point when I heard Sigourney Weaver's voice the first time, I was like,
So
they
good.
make her the bad person. I'm not going to be happy about this. But thankfully, she just came in for the day read and was like, I'm out. Give me the check.
Well, I love too that we just spent 20 minutes talking and we didn't even talk about what to me is one of the cores of this movie, which is the love between Wally and Eva.
I know.
And
I
it's just
know.
like,
so good.
you know,
Eve.
Pixar doesn't normally kind of have love be the main focus of these movies, or at least that type of romantic like love between characters. Usually it's familial or, you know, friends or whatever. And for them to focus this much on it in a movie that is this different, I think was just such a great call. And it really fucking worked. Like seeing them together, I'm just like, good Lord, you guys are adorable. And I am rooting for you. Have little space babies.
Her giggling and him just feeling all the flirtatious vibes. It's just the cutest shit ever. And like I am smiling throughout all of this, just watching him trying to get her attention and following her around.
Yeah.
And it's just so cute. It's
And like at the end of the day, he just wants to hold her hand. I love that.
It's insane how much they could like force me to feel, because like that's what they do.
Yeah,
in the
they just
moment where,
they're just like, I'm not going to do it, Kevin. I'm not going to fucking do it. And they're like,
Wally's trying to pronounce her name and he can't get it right. And the way she giggles, it's just like, how are you doing this? How are you doing this?
What mad science is this?
Yeah. Is it time for the plot?
It is.
Please tell us the story. Yeah, Nick, tell us the story.
Now, I was going to start this off with, of course, the most important quote from this whole movie, which is, Wally. But I now need Kevin to do that for me because he did it so wonderfully at the beginning of this. Kev, could you hit me with a Wally?
It's a lot of pressure.
Give it to me. Give it to me.
Kev.
I can't do it now. I'm all scared. I'm just being
Performance
honest with you
anxiety.
guys.
All right, do it later. We'll come back to you later. Work on it.
Wally.
I love it.
Why is it so low?
Every bit as good as I needed it to be. Man, we start off and Earth has seen better days. Oh, Wally, a little show tune loving robot, roams the vast wasteland that I think was New York, maybe LA, I can't remember. Despite the world being very far gone, he continues to do his duty as a mobile trash collector, compactor rather, making cubes from all the garbage everywhere. And judging from the massive tower of cube trashes all around the city, he has been at it for a while. We get some backstory here. The Earth has been overwhelmed with trash, so humans left on giant starliners. Wally returns home for the day to his cool truck, which has the words Waste Allocation Load Lifter Earth Class, or Wally for short, written on the side. That's where we get that. We see he's collected all manner of cool little trinkets and is still humming the show tune from Hello Dolly. He continues to watch it on, as he recorded it on his little like boombox chest thing, and then when he gets home, he puts it on. I think, Tim, you have to help me out with this. Is it an iPod video that he plays? Because he plays it and then he brings in a CRT the glass from a CRT which magnifies it, which is super creative.
Yeah, it must have been. That's so funny. I haven't thought about the iPod video.
Yeah, it's weird. I just remember like because they do that. They have that, and then obviously when he powers up, he's got the Mac like boom, like the startup sound, which is hilarious.
He runs on OS 10, I guess.
It's awesome. Hey, that's why he's still kicking, huh? Ooh, I can say that now, guys, because I'm a PC gamer. Let's see. Fun part where he gets he picks out a spork and he can't figure out where it's supposed to go, so he puts it in the middle of the spoons.
One
and
of my
forks.
favorite things when he's just like,
It's great.
He's like,
Comedy is
let's go
so
to the-"
good in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've mentioned this before on some other, I don't know if it was Pixar in review, probably through Toy Story or whatever, but they've mentioned that one way that they like to start movies, Pixar movies, is they like to show the main character in their element and doing their thing. And this is exactly what we're watching. We're watching Wally just kind of, this is his day to day. You know, when people ask him on an AMA, hey, what's your day to day look like, Wally? He's like, well, I get up and I collect trash, I make cubes, and I like just collect little cute things. Yeah. And it's cute as hell. We kind of are in that world without question. Like, we're just there and you accept it because it's good.
Very true. He stops, of course, to watch his favorite scene in the movie Hello Dolly, where the characters hold hands for the first time and sing the lines that it only took a moment to be loved a whole life long. Later that night, Wally looks up into the night sky, but his stargazing is cut short by a massive sandstorm. He closes the door behind him, stopping momentarily to let his little buddy, the cockroach, in. And then he tucks himself into a cube for a night and puts himself on the rack to go to sleep.
Kind of rocks himself to sleep.
I know. But it's so sad, that moment where, like, and again, obviously, this is all beautifully designed, and like the character designs are, to Kevin's point, are like designed just to get you right. But when he's looking up in the stars, you feel so lonely for him. You just feel like it's so sad that he's left behind. but not for long.
Wait,
The next
real quick,
day.
I don't remember exactly where this happens, but when he gets the Twinkie and he pulls it out for his little friend, it was just one of those things where it was like,
Dives in one side.
yeah, it's like, look how happy these people are. Good for them.
So funny. By the way, science with Kevin. Science with Kev. Do Twinkies actually last 700 years?
No, they don't.
Yeah, sadly. It's
How long
sad.
do they last?
3 months?
6 months. Yeah, it's not that long. There was that.
Science with Kev.
Kevin.
Yeah, I don't know. It's that one movie. What's the one? Zombieland. They talk about it.
Yeah.
Watch that Zombieland. It's a good
Yeah,
movie.
they talk about. Anyway, it's
just
funny.
Google it.
Actually, both are good movies. Did you see the second one? Good too. Let's see. The next morning, he wakes up and charges his solar batteries, and it plays the Mac startup effect, which is hilarious. And then he accidentally squishes his little buddy. But it's okay. He's okay. He pops back up because you can't keep a good cockroach down. Then it's another day of trash compacting. The trash gets put into a cube, but any little collectibles he has, he puts in his little igloo cooler that he brings with him, which is such a great little touch because he's like a construction worker, right? He's like going out there, he's got his little cooler with him, but instead of food, he just picks up like cool stuff that he wants to bring back for collecting.
I kind of wanted to see just more of a time lapse of him building out that building.
Dude, I know, right? Because he starts with the one cube and then it time lapses and it's the full foundation almost by the end of the day. I'm like, dude, this is a movie.
He starts with the borders of it and then starts to build into it. It looks really cool.
But he also has to build them so that there's like ramps so he can build and keep stacking, which is so cool. Let's see. Then he cuts open an old refrigerator and finds a budding plant in the soil, which he carefully digs out and puts into a boot. When he gets home.
Can we think about this for a second? Like,
Yeah.
how's that plant getting light or water? Come on, like that's makes
Jesus
no sense,
Christ,
guys.
Kevin. The power of God.
Power of Christ compels you.
Life finds a way.
When he gets home, he spots a red dot on the ground, like a cat in a laser pointer. He starts chasing after it, and then soon finds himself chasing after the thing. And a bunch of dots come, and they converge, and it is a massive ship that is landing on the planet. While he sees no other recourse, so he buries himself in the ground lest he be burned
brilliant.
alive by the rockets, which is really smart. And the shot of him popping up like, and he's red hot. Great. And we get another one of those in a second when it takes off. He hides under a rock and the ship scans the environment. Seeing no threat, it releases a survey drone, light years more advanced than Wall-E, and our little robot falls in love at first sight when he sees Eve.
Her tech is so awesome.
It's so cool.
I love the way her hand separates into fingers, into like separate digits, the way that looks, the way it kind of separates on its own. I love when you look closely at her, especially when he brings her back to his shag pad, where he's hoping
shag and
to get
wagon.
lucky that night. Yeah. When he brings her back, you see sort of these glyphs underneath her head, and then where her arm space is, it's like these high-tech kind of lights that are barely visible, but it just kind of hints at like that's sort of the magnet whatever
That keeps them
technology
like
is being
connected
used.
to her.
Yeah, it's super cool
cool.
looking. I love it's such a simple design. It's kind of perfect for what she needs to be, but there's a lot of cool little nuance to her overall design.
Dude, I'm just a sucker for the reflections from the material she's made out of.
Especially when she's
It's
back in the
so
shag
cool.
pad.
In the
So
shag pad
cool.
when all the lights are there. I'm like that. I love that. It reminds me of like the early days of me trying to and desperately failing at learning Cinema 4D, and you just hit render and you go, the reflections worked. So
Yeah, it's good ray tracing.
absolutely. Let's see. Before he can get his bearings, the robot, the big rocket blasts off again, while he once again digs himself into the ground for safety. Eve watches as the rocket leaves the atmosphere and then takes off in a very whimsical and delightful way, surveying and kind of dancing around the night sky as she surveys the world around her. But when Wall-E accidentally disturbs a pebble, Eve turns and just, blasts a hole in the rock that he's hiding behind, and it terrifies him. She leaves him shivering in terror and then goes about her business. Yet he still follows her, which with the encouragement of his little buddy, whom Eve also tries to shoot by mistake. And then she tries to blast Wall-E once more, forcing him to turn into a cube and hide like a little turtle. Thankfully, his little wingman smooths everything
Who
over.
are you? She asked.
Yeah.
I like with the subtitles. It's funny seeing what they are, what
Actually
the characters are
saying.
actually saying. Yeah.
Of course, now that Eve no longer sees Wall-E as a threat, he follows her around all day like a little puppy dog. As Louis Armstrong's
no.
A Kiss to
She
Build a
asked
Dream
him-
On plays. What's up?
She asks him who he is, and he shows her by collecting a little, and then and then puts it down and is like,
Yeah,
This is
once
what I
she's
do.
like
This is what I do.
directive. Yeah, once she
Yeah.
goes directive,
Yeah,
he's like, "Oh,
directive.
this is what I do. What's your directive? Classified."
Classified. Yeah,
It's
so
great.
good.
It's
So
awesome.
good.
And even like
Yeah,
her
that-
reaction when he finally responds to English is just like the way the way that they make them communicate, I always just think is so interesting. Like she
That's
seems like excited that he understands her. It's like, you're a robot. How do you have these
So
emotions?
I love it. Before that happens, of course, he falls around a little bit more, and there's a moment where she falls asleep, so he makes a little sculpture of her, and she's like, "What the fuck is that?" And then day after day, Eve scans the environment looking for something that is nowhere to be found, and it kind of starts to get bummed out. So she takes her frustration out on a group of old boats, just blasts them apart, and then this is where we get the scene where they talk about who they are, and she says she's classified. And then
Yeah,
they
I
introduce
love that.
themselves.
I love that moment of her getting stuck to the magnet and just being like, "Fucking shit!" And like just like
Yeah.
kind of, it's like me whenever I have stuff on my desk that's like getting in my way. I'm just like, "God, fucking damn it!" And I'm like throwing a cleaning sponge off my like, "God, get out of my!" And I just love her sort of lashing out like that, and then the boat's just tipping over,
Yeah.
tipping over, and then distant explosions in the subtitles is what it keeps saying, because shit keeps exploding somehow, and then Wally just kind of like scooches close and does a little whistling. So goddamn cute.
Of course, their introductions are very, very sweet, but they're cut short when a massive sandstorm rolls in, which blocks Eve's view. She calls out for Wally, who finds her hand and leads her back to his home. Eve tries to shoot his wallfish, the little talking wallfish, but he stops her and he's
the
overjoyed.
bass?
Yeah,
What's
the
it
bass.
called?
Yeah, exactly.
I forget the name of that stupid ass.
It had a
thing.
name, right? It was like super
Big
popular.
bass
like the,
something, right?
Big bass mouth?
Billy Mouth or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
something like
yeah,
That
yeah,
sounds
something
about
like
right.
that. Bass on Wall is what I'm googling. Bass on Wall was called, Big Mouth Billy Bass.
There we go.
Billy Bass.
What a great cameo.
What
Those
a
were
callback to
shockingly
that.
popular.
Yeah, what a
We had one.
what a place in history that was.
And
Kinda
that's like a
deep.
Why did
Spencer's
we
gift
all
special.
like it? Why did
It was
we think
hilarious.
funny?
It was like honestly the Tickle Me Elmo of that year. Like it's
It really
there
was.
are
For
thi-
adults.
It was a phenomenon. Everybody had one. It was everybody thought it was the funniest thing.
Did
You'd
adults
walk
not
the
have Tickle Me Elmo?
It was
What's up?
mostly a kid thing, right?
I said, did adults not have Tickle Me Elmo? I feel like everyone had Tickle Me Elmo when it came out.
Oh, sure. I just
Everyone.
mean like it was pandemonium. Big Mouth Billy Bass was taking over the world, and like you'd go to every Target and Steinmart, and it's on the wall, and then new versions
God.
are coming out, and they're singing
New songs.
Christmas
yeah.
songs this time, shit. And then like by the time you're like, all right, dude, that's enough.
The magic's gone. Stop.
Yeah, we had to cancel Billy Bass.
We're moving
He
on
said
to
some
Furbies now.
He said some awful things. Yeah.
Let's see. Then Eve accidentally ruins his favorite tape, but he fixes it quickly with by rolling it back, and then he pops it into the VHS player. I guess it was a VHS tape then. I apologize.
Yeah.
For some reason, I saw an iPod video, but this
He
has a
definitely
tape.
does have an iPod at some
Oh.
point in this movie.
I don't know where
Maybe
the tape
he
comes
like
from.
connected it to it. I don't
Maybe
know.
somehow, I don't know. Then he plays the scene for her, and then once again, as the line is sung, that it only took a moment to be loved a whole life, he tries to pick up her hand again, but she once again won't let him. So he shows her his most prized possession. I'm sorry, I missed the part with this where she accidentally knocks him into the wall and he breaks an eye. So he uses one of the eyes that he has on a shelf to fix it, which is going to come in later. She remembers that, so that's why she brings him back to Earth. Let's see. He shows her his plant, but when she scans it, it gives her a big old green light, and her shell opens up and sucks the plant in, and then she drops lifeless as a little symbol on her chest that starts pulsating in green with the sign of a leaf. Wally tries to take her out into the sun to recharge her because he doesn't know what's going on. It's really, really sad because she won't. But he tries all these things and she won't revive. So he just ties a string of lights around her and just like, well, I'll take you around and try to show you the environment at least.
Weekend at Bernie's her.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys,
And then
I
of course.
love this movie so much because like when it happens, it's like, oh, that's weird, and then when it comes back, it's just like, oh, so much. I'm feeling so much.
Of course, heartbroken because he can't get Eve to work. He leaves her behind and goes back to his job. But before he could crush his first cube, the ship returns and scoops Eve up. Wally races back to save her, but it's too late. Seeing no other option, he tells his little buddy to stay behind and rushes to climb onto the ship as it leaves the atmosphere and blasts off into space through a massive junkyard of derelict satellites. And I know Kevin loves this part for some reason. I don't know why, but I just felt, I was like, Kevin must love this.
I did
Something
enjoy
about
it, Nick. I did.
Yeah, a graveyard of satellites above
Yeah.
Earth.
And also the idea that they didn't really burn because I don't really think there's an atmosphere anymore, right? Like there's not a protective layer of like
No, there's
ozone,
still
right?
an atmosphere.
But like I would have assumed that they would have like that Wally just would have burned like leaving the orbit.
Yeah, I mean
you know?
he would have. Now we have seen Wally be insanely resistant to heat,
Yeah.
but like
That's true.
yes, in real life he would have disintegrated. He needed to be made out of like crazy
That
ceramic, like titanium
Ceramic
tiles.
shit they put. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, is it? I thought it was always re-entry that was more dangerous. That like burned up. Is it?
No,
is
I
it
mean I
exiting?
believe both are like
Both.
you're going very, very fast.
Fast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's see. Cool scene here where Eve gets tended to by a team of robots. I'm sorry. Excuse me. They pass the moon landing where there's a digital billboard for an outlet mall coming soon, and then he passes by the sun where Wally uses that opportunity to recharge his batteries, and then
So cool.
he puts his hand in the rings of Saturn as they pass by. And I'll tell you what, man. They were on this trip for a while, Kevin, because they're out of the galaxy, right?
Yeah, they were on there for a long time. Oh, it is
I do want to
it
touch on a bit more just how awesome that environmental storytelling is of the fact that we tried to put a by and large on the moon.
That's so
And
funny.
what a weird
So
concept
funny.
that would have been, us trying to just expand the corporations,
Andy, like they didn't try to put a by and large. It was a by and large outlet.
Outlet mall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even the real deal. It was like all the shit that had some problems.
Yeah, the leftover stuff.
Yeah,
Really
exactly.
quick, Nick, I just confirmed it is a cassette, but the cassette is wired to one of the iPad videos.
The iPod videos. Interesting. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fun. Fun little touch there. Of course, they finally arrive at the massive Starliner, the Axiom, where, of course, when they board, it's a cool scene where Eve gets tended to by a team of robots that decontaminate her, one of whom we don't know the name of yet, but I'm just going to say it because he's the best damn character in this whole movie.
He's my favorite.
Mo. Mo is the best. He's the hardest working little robot on this whole ship. Of course,
It
they
just
accidentally.
only cares about that. I love it.
He's focused.
What a method actor, right?
Yep.
To just be so consistent in what your job is that even at the end, when they're getting sucked through the chute and they're trying to save themselves, and he's like, "Fuck, contaminate! I gotta clean that shit." It's so great.
They accidentally grab Wally, and he's so dirty they call for reinforcements. One of the robots scans Eve and spots the plant inside her, so they cart her away. Wally chases after them, leaving dirty tracks behind them, which flabbergasts Mo, making him just like shout an actual robot expletive, which is what it said in the subtitles. Which is fucking hilarious. And then he just takes off after Wally, cleaning up his tracks. Wally soon finds himself amongst the humans, who are all very overweight, thanks to the help of their hover chairs, digital screens, and most importantly, the robot helpers who constantly serve them whatever they would like. And everything is a milkshake here. So I have to imagine Kevin's like, this could be the future. We don't know. He loves those milkshakes.
It's
Seemed
pretty
like paradise
prophetic
to me,
because,
you know
like,
what I
I
mean?
don't think that, like, this movie came out in 2008, and I feel like I didn't really start seeing the memes of, like in 2015 of people being photographed reading newspapers and stuff, or where it's a room full of people just looking at their cell phones, and those people are being judged in this photo,
Because
being
of
like,
that, yeah.
look at society, look at us, this is what we've become. And like, again, this movie came out in 08, probably got started around 05, 06, 04 maybe. It is like just what a weird thing to kind of predict that we were going to go in that direction, and we kind of are still going in that direction. It's pretty wild that the iPhone was created while this thing was being made.
Yeah.
And the
Totally.
idea of
smartphones
being
weren't around. We're
Yeah.
talking about an iPod video.
Yeah, the idea of being
That's
glued to a
wild.
screen is so, just ever present throughout this whole movie.
Of course, one of the humans falls out of his chair and is helpless until a service bot comes to put him back in. Wally rolls by. And this is the first part that I was
Wally
like,
puts him back in. Remember, and they have the introduction.
no, I think the
That's-
service bot's helping him put him back in. But Wally asks him about Eve. He goes, Eve?
No, Wally puts him back in.
Oh, does
Yeah,
Wally put him back in?
yeah, he like
Yeah.
pushed him. He uses
Oh,
his
okay.
little lifter, and that's John Ratzenberg, right?
Yeah, because he
It
goes,
is
Eve, and he goes, no, John.
John, yeah. And
And
it's
then he
like, oh
keeps going.
shit.
which is super cute.
I love that anyone that Wally interacts with, like he is like the catalyst that like
for them
causes
waking up.
disruption that like wakes people up. That's so cool.
There's this wonderful moment here where he helps put him back in the chair. And then he goes, no, John. And then he's like, huh, and remembers his name. Everyone remembers Wally because they love him. And then he looks over and he goes, I didn't know we had a pool. And there's just those moments about that. So Wally is that great little catalyst. He catches up to Eve and follows her up to the bridge where one of the drones wakes the captain, who is so lazy he can't even be bothered to lean forward to grab his coffee without the use of his chair. He's like, fuck it, hits the button on the chair, like propels him forward so we can grab it. Of course, the captain played by the venerable Jeff Garlin.
Great, I love Jeff Garlin.
Who's great.
He's so funny.
Let's see. The captain makes his morning announcements. They've been aboard the ship for 700 years, but his speech is cut short when the news of Eve reaches him. No probes ever come back positive before. He's flabbergasted. He doesn't know what to do. So he hits the green button, and Fred Willard once again pops up. He says, "Congratulations! If you're seeing this, that means that your extraterrestrial vegetation evaluator, or Eve for short, has returned from Earth with a positive specimen of photosynthesis. So it's time to return home and begin Operation Recolonize." The captain is given a booklet of instructions to load the plant into the halo something, put it into the computer so the ship will automatically take them home, but he can't really figure it out. He spots Wally and freaks, but before they can catch up, the captain opens up Eve to remove the plant, but it's gone. Well, false alarm, he thinks. Probe must be defective, so they send her down to be diagnosed.
Is this the part where he's like can't figure out how to open the book?
Yeah, he doesn't
just
understand
like
how books
mesmerized by pages and stuff like that.
Yeah, the robot ends up opening the cover for him, and he's like, "Look at that! Wow, paper. This is interesting."
And like, have you guys ever seen that video of it's like a baby who gets really frustrated by magazines? Yeah. Who like has only ever interacted with touchscreens and stuff like that and doesn't understand how they work. And that scene always reminds me of that.
That's funny.
That's so funny. But before we move on, let me tell you about our sponsor. This episode is brought to you by MeUndies. Summer is coming, and for so many of us, it's the season of discomfort. It's hot out, and if you could sit around in just your underwear, you would. MeUndies wants to make this summer the summer of comfort. And they want you to know that if you want to sit around in your underwear, that's absolutely allowed. I do it all the time. And when I don't want to sit in my underwear, I sit in my MeUndies lounge pants. I got some dinosaurs right now. I love my dinosaurs. And I also love all the other fun prints that MeUndies offers. If you like bold prints, they do those too. If you like classic, guess what? Your blacks, your whites, your grays, they're all there. They make undies, they make lounge pants, they make t-shirts, they make socks. I'm wearing all of those right now, and I love it because they have the softest micro-modal fabric imaginable. MeUndies makes it easy to match. You can match your bottom half to your better half, or halves. Yes, you can match your friends too. MeUndies helps you find a matching pair in a style or color or print of undies that's right for you and your boo, because who doesn't love a secret twinning moment? Me and G have both been wearing matching MeUndies, and every once in a while, when I realize we're both wearing the same ones, it just makes my day that much better and that much softer. MeUndies has a great offer for you guys. For any first-time purchasers, you can get 50% off and free shipping. MeUndies also has their problem-free philosophy. If you're not satisfied with any product for any reason, they'll refund or exchange it. No caveats, no questions. Get 15% off your first order and free shipping by going to MeUndies.com/morning. That's MeUndies.com/morning. I love MeUndies, and you should too. MeUndies.com/morning. Back to it. What's up, Kev?
I'm such a sucker for like evil AI, not evil AIs, but like AIs as like the bad guys, like the
very 2001 Space Odyssey.
Yeah, Otto is so 2001. Give me the red glowing eye anytime. Like I'm all about it.
Or Moon.
Put a chip in
Remember
me.
Moon?
Put a chip in me.
Remind me of what
Moon?
Portal.
The movie Moon?
Yeah.
That was good with Sam Rockwell.
Yeah.
Oh, that was great. Oh, that movie's so good.
Let's see. The captain is given instructions, blah, 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 but the plan's gone. False alarm. Captain spots Wally and shakes his hand, leaving dirt on it. The captain orders him cleaned. When he has the sample analyzed, he ends up going down his very first internet rabbit hole. Even Eve is not happy with Wally. They enter the repair center, and Wally is thrown in with the rest of the malfunctioning robots while Eve is carted away. And then there's a fun scene where he's looking at through through the opaque glass, so he can't figure out what's going on, but it looks like she's being decapitated. So he busts her out.
Worked up.
Yeah, he gets worked up, bro. And he accidentally uses her arm cannon to blast the control panel, which lets all of the misfit robots out of their cages. They grab Wally and Jet, but soon run into the Law robots.
I kind of forgot exactly what was going to happen in this movie, and I thought we were going to kind of get a Last of Us thing where she's the cure and they have to like kill her. Like, it was kind of close. We were getting close to that.
Let's see. They open fire on Wally, but Eve saves his ass. But man, she is not happy about it. She spots some escape
so
pods
cool.
and marches Wally over to them. When he tries to talk to her, she opens up a pod and orders him to return to Earth. He wants her to come with, but she refuses. Before they can argue, a little service robot comes and drops off the plant in the escape pod and shoots it and Wally off to Earth. Eve sees them, watches the escape pod go, and then takes off into space after them. But the ship's self-destruct countdown has begun, and Wally frantically tries to escape. Eve, at a distance, watches as the ship explodes, and she cries out for him. But her sorrow is cut short when Wally comes rocketing back at her with the use of a fire extinguisher.
The droid wasn't trying to shoot it back to Earth. Like, he was destroying it, right?
Yeah, but I think she had programmed it for Earth or whatever, and he just saw the self-destruct and like let it go so it would blow up.
Right.
Yeah, so he wasn't trying to he wasn't trying to get back to Earth. It's just that was the general trajectory. I will say this is
fire
one of the
extinguisher stuff is one of my favorite scenes.
It's great.
Yeah.
Like him flying through
Magic.
space. It's utterly beautiful. It's magic. That's the thing. Yeah. It's
Again-
just the score that plays while it's happening. It's just like, Pixar, come
Yeah,
on.
too
But
bad that
also
plant
set
would
up
have died
earlier.
in this cold vacuum of space.
It would have. That's true. Sorry. The like it would have been like no, I'm sorry. The setup of him using the fire extinguisher earlier to like learn that he can push himself. It's this movie's so good.
Let's see. They take off flying around space as John and Mary. Oh, somehow we should have gotten introduced to Mary here. I apologize. I must have skipped over that. But John and Mary watch. Oh, this is where we go. Watch the inside ship, and when their hands unintentionally touch, they get a little spark of their own. Oh, damn it! I missed the fucking good part, guys. I'm sorry. I'm feeling you today.
What'd you
failed
miss?
you for the last time. He saved the
They're
plane.
all
He
the
comes
good
back,
parts.
and when he does, she goes to hug him, and a little spark goes between them, which is really, really cute.
And he
that's why I
just
put
like
it.
faints.
And he's like, oh yeah.
he creams those little robot jeans and
Love.
he just flies back. You know what I
I
mean?
don't like that.
Why, Andy? Why would you say all those horrible things? This is pure love, all right?
Creams his robot pants. I think he lubricates his pants in that
Oh,
part.
Jesus.
wait.
Even Wally. What's up?
Do you guys know who plays Mary? I'm looking it
I
up right now.
do. It's Kathy Najimy. I can't
Oh,
remember.
from
It's-
Big
she's one
Fat
of the
Greek
witches from Hocus Pocus.
Oh no, she wasn't.
Oh,
Big Fat
wow.
Greek. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. She was Hocus Pocus. That's right.
The other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
The
third one.
Knots, Bette Midler, or Sarah
Sarah
Jessica
Jessica
Parker.
Parker.
Also, now that we're talking about the casting, do you guys know who plays Otto? It's fun. It's a fun
No,
one.
give it to me.
Macintalk, the plane talk that Apple's like program for
cool.
text synthesis.
Oh, they just-
Got it.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
That's really
That was
neat.
fun.
So the predecessor to Siri.
Damn, they didn't even have to fucking pay him. Like, I wonder like what the voice actors union thought about that. You know?
Oh, they probably had to pay
I
Apple
bet you they
$1
had to pay
billion.
Apple. Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course they did. Of course they did.
Even Wally sneak back aboard the ship, leaving a little service drone out to dry. Poor little fucker's still out there probably, and find the route to deliver the plant to Superior. Wally wants to hang back, but Eve reminds him of her directive and takes off. Meanwhile, the captain has become a massive fan of Earth and is now daydreaming of that big old blue planet. But when Eve returns to the plant, he plugs her into the computer to see what Earth looks like through her eyes from all the video, but is shocked when he sees the state of Earth. Eve plays back the last images she has from Earth, which include the scene where the humans hold hands in Hello Dolly, and she finally realizes why Wally has always wanted to hold hers. And then she sees the time that she was knocked out, but she was still recording when Wally took good care of her, and it kind of warms her.
Perfect.
Meanwhile, Wally
Like,
climbs
stop,
up the freaking trash chute to go find her, while the little cleaning drone waxes the floor behind him and is like, "When will this nightmare ever end?" The captain waters the plant and realizes that that's what he has to do. Despite the fact that Earth has been destroyed, we have to go back. He orders the computer to fire up the hollow detector, but the machine resists him and said, we cannot go home. When the captain asks why not, Otto tells him that he shows him the final video from Fred Willard. Operation Cleanup has failed. Rather than try to fix the problem, it'll be easier to just remain in space. And he gives directive A113 to authorize full autopilot. But as the captain notes, that message was sent 700 years ago. Life is sustainable now. It's living proof right here. So the computer is wrong. We got to go home. Sadly, robot's got a robot. You know what I mean, Tim? And Otto won't let him do anything because on the axiom, he will survive. Quote, I don't want to survive. I want to live. I'm the captain of the axiom. We are going to go home today. But then Otto, of course, just sounds the alarm and is like, you can't do shit. Calls for Gopher, which is a cool name of a robot, Gopher, who snatches the plant. Once again, Eve to the rescue. He orders Eve to put the plant straight in the hollow detector, but Gopher throws it down the garbage chute instead. Thankfully, Wally has finished his climb up the garbage chute, and it's just sitting on his little head as he comes up.
It's so good.
But Otto intervenes once again, and mutiny ensues. He shocks Wally to Kingdom Come and then throws him and Eve down the garbage chute, and then he confines the captain to his quarters. Eve wakes up in the garbage as Massive, while ours are scooping up the trash and compacting them for space. She gets caught in a cube next to Wally, and they both get trucked out into the airlock for disposal. Eve manages to blast her way free and tries to save Wally, but the doors begin to close right as the little cleanup drone chases after them and gets stuck in them, giving them a path to salvation. Wally, of course, a little worse for the wear at this point. His main circuit board is fried, so Eve goes looking for another one. While she does, Wally takes that opportunity, always the gentleman, to introduce himself to the little drone that saved them. And he tries to shake his hand and says, Wally. And the little drone looks back and responds, Mo.
So dope.
That part, I remember that part getting me in the theater. I was like, I like this little dude. I get behind this little dude.
Oh, wow. The woman who voiced Eve also voiced one of the twin cars from Cars that were like all throwing themselves over.
That's funny. That's really funny. Eve returns with a bunch of circuit boards. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I love that it's the giant compactors are wall A's, which are the E stands for Earth, the A stands for Axiom.
I got
cool.
that. I thought it said R on it. It must have been an A.
I thought the A stood for like a big version of Wally. I thought that's what the A stood for.
No.
It's big. It's a big version.
Big old boy.
Eve returns with a bunch of circuit boards, but none are right. So Wally gives her back the plant so she can complete her mission, but she throws it to the side and offers him her hand instead because this now is her new directive. She says directive. But Wally goes and scoops it up. The only means of fixing him are on Earth. He's like, you got to take me back to Earth. And Eve gets the message and blasts into action. Soon, all the misfit robots rally after them, and we got ourselves an army. The captain spots Eve and Wally on the view screen and hacks in to tell them to bring the plant to the Lido deck. I always think that's funny because I remember being on a cruise one time and the captain was like, go to the Lido deck. And I was like, I don't know where that is, but it sounds like my kind of deck.
Like the party activity deck, right?
Yeah,
like all the fun stuff happens there.
Then he tricks Otto into thinking he's got the plant so he can hitch a ride up to the bridge. The captain finally hits the plant button and things go haywire. Everything goes green and all the humans get prepped for the return voyage back as the massive halo detector opens up in front of them. Eve and Wally race to it as the captain and Otto fight in the bridge, causing the ship to list and everyone to slide out of their chairs. But for the first time ever, everyone on board bands together to help each other, which is a cool moment. Eve saves them all from being crushed as Wally tries to stop the halo detector from closing. But as he does, little robot gets caught and then soon loses out and is crushed. Emboldened by Wally's sacrifice, the captain stands up for the very first time, and grabs, and it's so unbelievably like epic, and then he just presses the manual button.
Is this when we get the 2001 music?
Yeah.
2001, right?
Good.
Also,
yeah.
What's cool though is I never noticed that Otto, the character, the actual robot itself, is the steering wheel for the ship.
Oh yeah.
So when it comes down and then he's able to actually steer with it, I was like, that's fucking really cool. So it actually is just the autopilot enabled. Let's see. Mo spots the plant and throws it to the humans who all help get it to Eve so she can throw it into the hollow detector before it closes. It verifies the plant origin and sets a course to Earth and engages the hyper jump. As it does so, it releases Wally's lifeless body into Eve's arms. The ship touches down on Earth, causing one of Wally's massive trash columns to come tumbling down. For the first time in 700 years, humans step foot on their home planet. Eve races Wally back to his home with a little help from his little buddy. She scrambles to replace his parts with new ones. With everything back in place, she opens the solar panel and blasts a hole in the roof to let the sunlight in so he can charge. But as his batteries recharge to full, when he comes back to life, he has no recollection of Eve. And it's really, really sad.
It's horrifying.
She tries to play him footage from his favorite musical, but it has no effect. He forms some sort of takes some of his trinkets. It's so sad. His own trinkets and forms them into a little cube, and then looks at her and then sets about doing his job again. Of course, she doesn't want to give up. She catches up to him one last time and stops him. She tries to shake him out of it, but it won't work. And then she finally takes his hand and presses like her forehead to his, like finally taking his hand. She presses forward, and once again that little spark erupts between them, but Wally remains the same. And then, of course, crestfallen, she decides to turn and float away. But as she does so, Wally grabs her hand.
I'm just like bawling in my chair 40 fucking minutes ago. Just like, I'm never gonna find love. Like, goddamn, this moment is so beautifully done. It is paced perfectly. It is flawless. This is how you make people cry and get emotional. It is so goddamn good.
I'm crying talking about it right now.
Yeah.
And then overjoyed, she hugs him and shouts his name, Wally. As the rest of the malfunctioning robots catch up to them, the captain starts teaching his fellow humans about farming. The end.
I really wanted to see a pizza plant at some point, but didn't work out.
Yeah, that's true. What's the Pixar theory?
The Pixar theory is
this is like the end of the Pixar theory, right? Isn't this how?
Well, this is kind of the jump off point of the core stuff. So there's a recurring theory that every single Pixar movie is connected in some way. Here's the big deep dive red string everywhere theory for where Wally fits into the big picture, as brought to you by the nanobiologist. This is the first major block being laid. We've finally been introduced to By and Large, the super mega corporation previously referenced that supposedly uses Syndrome's tech that emerged after Incredibles 2. Kind of future spoilers here, but that's just how this works. We've seen By and Large as batteries in Toy Story 3, and now
there was the freeze ray that the little security guard shot that was red that would kind of freeze you in place in the same way Syndrome's thing would do, the 0-point energy.
Exactly. Yeah. So we've seen By and Large as batteries in Toy Story 3, and now we see them as basically the saviors of humanity from its own mistakes after it took control of the world in the latter half of the 21st century. We learned that By and Large's total takeover of Earth with the explosive growth of the human population led to Earth being abandoned to almost a toxic wasteland. But that may not be the whole story. The Pixar theory assumes that Syndrome's AI tech from the 70s continues to adapt and eventually leads to human dependence by creating and growing the largest company ever on Earth that runs everything. By and Large's pollution of Earth as it continues to grow, the humans' dependence on it leads to other intelligent life on Earth getting really angry enough to try to start a war with humanity. But By and Large saves the day from the war and takes all humans off Earth. The animals abandoned evolved and adapted to the world, while the B&L tech led to cars becoming cars until the human history on Earth left, and that era of Earth dies out after 200 to 300 years after the humans left. Way later, our Wally grows feelings from interacting with human stuff and falling in love with it. He broke from his programming because of the power of emotion. All other Wally units didn't and eventually ran out of battery and died. Finally, as previously mentioned in the Bugs Life and Monsters Inc. episodes, after the humans return to Earth, not only have they adapted to space life and basically a life of luxury, now they need to adapt for survival on Earth that is still a hellish wasteland. This is when evolution begins again for everyone to relearn everything, but that's spoilers for another upcoming movie. Shit's getting crazy. It's still not totally making sense to me, but I'm like, okay, this By and Large thing is, I can at least latch on to that and be like, there's some things on we're working here. Andy, hit me with some of that haiku and review.
You got it, Tim. I will hit you with that right now. You got it right now,
Andy
Tim.
is totally ready for that.
I am on it. 7 syllables in the middle. You'll need 5 for the first and last line. If you're not poetic, no need to fret it. Haikus don't need to rhyme. Haiku in review. Haiku in review. Ooh, I got a cramp in my toe. Oh my god.
Oh no.
Oh, man.
That was a twist. I was in a remix I was not expecting.
You can go to patreon.com/kindafunny to write your review in haiku form, just like Zaid Wilson did. Zaid is such a cool freaking name.
It's a dope name. I'm Zaid Wilson.
Why is a robot making me cry so dang much? Wally is stunning. Joe Merton says, Ship of Theseus. This part always makes me sob. Robots in love rule. So true. Shout out to Robots in Love, you know? And then, of course, Miscellaneous writes in with the plot in Haiku. Meet the little bot, making all these garbage blocks, stacked to the rooftops. Eve comes from above, he could never have dreamed of. Wally is in love. They rescue the plant, and flying through space, they dance, not knowing the plan. Activate device, thanks to Wally's sacrifice. Home is in their sights. Fix him, she must try. Replace a board, gear, and eye. They hold hands. I cry.
I cry. Yeah, fuck yeah,
Miscellaneous, man. Killing the game. What a fantastic
God damn,
set of
I
haikus.
had a good little cry a little while ago.
Now let's do a little ragu bagu.
Dun 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 dun.
Ragu.
Dun 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 dun.
Bagu. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the original edition of Rad Guys Talk Bad Guys, where we don't get the sound effects to work, so we use our mouths. My name's Nick Scarpino. Listen, where do we want to put... Well, who is the bad guy in this? Is it going to be by and large?
I think
We
by
wanna
and
say
large
that?
makes the most sense.
Society,
By and large,
dude.
an
We live in
auto.
a society.
I'm just going to say by and large, Otto, and we live in a society. We live in a
Definitely.
society.
That's a lot of words.
I would argue that it's auto because, I mean, by and large is what sets the whole
Sure.
stage.
We'll say
but I
Otto.
feel like
But doesn't really
Otto-
play an active role.
Otto's the character that is like actually
Stopping
causing
people from doing
problems
things.
from
yeah.
happening, you know?
All right, so where do we want to put Otto? Right now, the list as it stands, excuse me, is Lotsa from Toy Story 3, Prospector and Al from Toy Story 2, Newswater and Randall from Monsters, Inc., Hopper from Ants, number 5, Syndrome from Incredibles, number 6, Ego and Skinner from Ratatouille, 7, Darla and the Barracuda, 8, Woody and Sid from Toy Story 1, 9 is Gabby from Toy Story 4, and 10, rounding out the list, is Chick and Hubris from Cars. Where do we want to put Otto?
Which one was Monsters Inc.? What number is it?
Monsters, Inc. is number
Like
3.
3.
I'd say
It goes
4.
Monsters, Inc. and then Hopper from Ants.
I'd put this one low.
Yeah,
Me
real
too.
low.
Like probably, I'd say above Chick and Hubris from Cars because it's an equal type of thing where it's
Yeah,
like,
it's not really.
you know, everything that Otto does makes sense. Just listen to its orders. Like you can't really fault it. And that's kind of the best bad guys. They have their own perspective. But it is just kind of more of an esoteric bad guy.
Yeah,
this,
it
so.
would it would have been more of a villain had it become self-aware in the way that it was doing things out of like being selfish. You know, I want to continue to be the leader of this ship as opposed to just like, I don't want you all to go back to that planet and die. Because that's kind of mostly what it was. So yeah, it's gonna go pretty low for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do
Anyone else?
think that there's a moment where we get the captain realizing, oh, this is a method for this computer, this machine to sustain its own life. Because remember, landing on Earth means the Axiom is no more. In fact, in the credits, we see the Axiom covered in like trees and shrubbery. So I do think there was some bit of
I'll be
self-sustaining.
useless.
Self-preservation.
Sure, yeah.
but I don't know that it ever gets that self-aware, though.
You know, like many things in this movie, Joey, it's subtle. And I just
It
don't
is
think you got
subtle.
it.
This is subtlety. Let's take it to a vote. Who thinks it's better than Chick and Hubris from Cars? Raise your hands. Who thinks it's better than Gabby from Toy Story 4? Who was terrifying.
Oh, come
Gabby
on,
was
guys.
terrifying.
Come on.
Nah, we're
Gabby?
gonna- that's where it's gonna go.
She ended up not even
though, which is crazy.
Huh? Yeah, it makes a lot of sense if you think about it. But I mean, you want to spend 10 minutes on this movie.
Let's, well, there it is. Number 10. Otto from Wally, followed by Chick and Hubris from Cars. And then Gabby is above
And
that.
now it is time to rank the Pixar movies. Currently, number 1, we have Monsters, Inc. Number 2, Finding Nemo. Number 3, The Incredibles. Number 4, Toy Story 3. Number 5, Toy Story 2. Number 6, Toy Story 4. Number 7, Toy Story. Number 8, Ratatouille. And number 9, Cars. And number 10, A Bug's Life. Who wants to start?
I think it's very clear this movie should be number 1. It makes you feel everything. And it doesn't use some stupid little baby to trick you into it.
Boo, how dare you? How dare you,
How
sir?
dare
Now,
you
here's the
talk
thing, here's the
about
thing.
Boo
Never
that way.
speak ill of Boo.
Hey, do I like Boo? Yeah, she's adorable. She's adorable. She's great. But
Yeah,
like,
Fluffy.
you know, this is love. Love in its truest and purest form. I'm not
Yeah,
talking about
I
that
would-
nasty shit sex that you're obsessed with, Nicholas. Love. Right,
I'm
exactly,
not the one talking
Andy.
about
Exactly.
robots lubricating themselves at first sight or whatever
Who
Andy
said
was out
that?
there
That
talking
was
about.
crazy.
What a gross.
I would
human
put
being.
this at number 1 or 2. I'm kind of having trouble deciding because I want to lean to lean towards number one because I think just the level of difficulty in pulling this movie off and making it be as great as it is. Like I think pulling the movie off is hard enough. Pulling the movie off and making it amazing is just a whole different level of difficulty, and it kind of just does everything. Again, I there are no wasted moments in this movie. It's cute as hell from front to back, and I'm crying at the end. Robots in love made me cry. It's beautiful.
I'm going a lot lower than you guys. And again, it's just because I really fucking love these movies, but I would put it at number 8. So under the Toy Stories, but above Ratatouille and Cars. And I again, I feel like we're talking about just top tier shit. And I think that all the 1 through 7 above for me kind of just hit me different. And I have elements of movies that I kind of appreciate more. While I did appreciate the artsiness of this movie, that's just not the type of thing that I lean towards.
I'm sorry, Joe. Go ahead.
Oh, I think I'm closer to Tim, obviously, in this conversation. I think it's that whole thing that I haven't really understood because I've never had to do an review before where I don't like the rankings. So
Yeah, welcome to our
I had
hell.
to put it around things.
What is
I
it,
would
Andy?
probably
Spider-Man's
put
too
it-
high?
Superman's
I
too
would probably
high.
put it
Thor's
above-
better than Hulk. Yeah.
Exactly. I would probably put it above. I would probably put it at 7 because I do think it's better than Toy Story 1, but I'm still mad that Ratatouille and Cars are solo.
I would put it probably around. I would go a little bit lower. I don't think it should be too high, but I definitely think it's better than. I would probably put it right under Toy Story 3 or right under Incredibles.
This movie
kinda what I'm
does
thinking.
so much. It does so much.
It's
with
amazing. Don't get me
little.
wrong.
I mean, it's phenomenal. You guys are crazy. I hate all
This
of
is
you.
just where I come in. I'm right with Joey, where I'm like, I just feel like Incredibles is. I feel like I can't rank anything above Incredibles unless it's like outstanding to me. And this movie is great. It's very, very well done, but it's never really been one of my favorites of the Pixar.
This movie
franchises.
probably has the lowest word count of any movie. Like
It's true.
certainly of any Oscar-winning movie. You know,
It definitely makes reading the subtitles way easier.
Actually, there was
And
that.
I
There
want
was
it
that.
clear, too.
There was a silent film that won the Best Picture. Remember that?
Oh yeah,
that
it's
makes
true.
sense, Sandy.
Forgot what
makes
that movie
sense.
was called.
Yeah,
Like a big
let's-
thing when it comes to the rankings, like we keep saying, like these are all
Nebraska?
good movies. But to me, the Toy Story movies, all 4 of them are just on a tier to their own almost. So that's why that takes up such a big chunk of this that it feels crazy saying that Wall-E would be 8 to me, but that's just what we're
insane.
dealing with here. So Nick, where would you put it?
Shit, Tim, I'd put it right underneath Incredibles.
So okay, let's do the ranking. Who thinks it's better than Ratatouille? Raise your hand.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay, all of us
Yeah,
raise our hand.
I got confused with the list.
Who thinks it's better than Toy Story? Raise your hand. Everyone but me. Toy Story 4, raise your hand. Joey puts it down. So it is just Nick, Andy, and Kev. Toy Story 2. Toy Story 3. The Incredibles. So that means that the new rankings are
Such a deep story with so much
It's
depth
so
about the
good.
future of
It's
the
so
world.
complex. So
Number
many
1.
different themes are touched.
Monsters Inc.
Kitty.
Number 2,
One
Finding
word.
Nemo.
Kitty.
Number 3, The Incredibles.
Kitty and Boo.
And so this would put it at number 4, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Correct.
so.
Number 4, Wall-E. Number 5, Toy Story 3.
Sorry, Wall-E, I
Number
failed
6, Toy Story 2. Number 7, Toy Story 4. Number 8, Toy Story. Number 9, Ratatouille. Number 10, Cars. And number 11, A Bug's Life.
How mad is the chat at us right now?
This is wild. This is wild.
Andy
hate
hates the
this show.
series.
This is
Honestly,
wild.
this has been the most difficult.
This movie is
I didn't have
art.
vote
This is the
on,
only movie here that's
5
art.
of these movies. This
They're
is
all
such a-
great. They're all amazing movies. It's not like we're saying like
We
this.
should have
this
redone the
sucks.
list with
We're not
me and
saying they're
Joey
bad.
voting on the Toy Story movies. This is. I hate this.
Movie about superheroes and fucking fish. Come on. Come on. Come on, fish. We got the MCU, man. No, I like The Incredibles.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Let us know in the comments below how much you disagree with our list. I will not be looking at those comments, I assure you.
Nope. Please don't tweet
but
them at
Yeah,
us.
it's like
Thank
when Blessing put us on blast with our MCU list, and every reply was like, "What a fucking shitty list." I was like, make your own fucking show, dude. Make your own fucking show.
Oh, I love the chaos. I love it so much. You are appreciated, and I love you even if you have shitty opinions. Until next time. Bye.